Straight 45, we are back with Justin Hunte, the company man on everything. They was talking about the tweet that Lil B released that got him jumped, and this is what it says. I feel like I rep New York hip-hop harder than some of the artists from New York. These New York artists sound like Future and Dej Loaf. I think, yo, dude, I've been saying this shit.
Yeah.
Not that Lil B reps him, but like, yo, man, New York is there is not all New Yorkers, but there's still a New York sound, but it has become acceptable for New Yorkers to sound like other regions in order to get some money.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play the game to some degree, and New York radio is not that great at playing New York artists that sound quintessentially New York. And truthfully, people aren't dancing to like bars. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to be super lyrical and make people move. Like it's a difficult thing. So yeah, I think a lot of people do that. Like it's like people in New York. They all, like residents in New York, a lot of them sold their houses and moved down south, and I feel like they took the flow with them. You know what I mean? It's like reverse. Here comes the southern flows while all the people are actually moving out of the city. So
there it is. All right, so what we got? Speaking of New York, we're talking about like the OG, some of the OG New York rappers right here. Run DMC, Jam Master Jay. What you got for me?
Legends. Derrick Parker. So 15 years ago, Jam Master Jay, he was a DJ in Run DMC, legendary figure in music, not only for his work with Run DMC, but he gave us 50 Cent. He was 50 Cent's
Onyx,
mentor.
I think, was he?
He was. Yeah, he worked with Onyx as well. I mean, his impact on the culture can't be understated. And so he passed away 15 years ago. He was murdered in Queens, New York. He was fatally gunned down. Derrick Parker. He's also known as the hip hop cop. And so Derrick Parker, he wrote this book in the early 2000s. I was talking about how talking about the hip hop police, and it was talking about how New York City police officers were investigating rappers throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. And so he did an interview with DJ VLAD talking about the case, Jam Master Jay's case. This is another one of these cases where we haven't found what the killer was, who we still don't know who murdered Jam Master Jay. During this interview with DJ VLAD, he would say, I would say that case, out of any of the big three, Biggie, Tupac, and Jam Master Jay, the Jam Master Jay case is close to being somewhat solved. Hopefully soon, I hope. He says later in that conversation that there are somewhat true. There's been rumors that Jam Master Jay had his hands in some drug deals. He says those were somewhat true, and he feels like the delay in closing the case comes from witness cooperation, corroboration of evidence, and the willingness of the DA's office at that time to go forward with prosecution of who was involved. He also explained some of the difficulties in compelling witnesses to testify, which would make sense if you still have your hands into some street shit. You still got some, your hands in some.
There's a couple things in there. A lot of a lot of the rapper shit it's because people won't talk. Like there's only so much evidence you can get, and then it's like if no one's cooperating, then no one's cooperating, and we're 20 years removed, like it's a rap. So it takes people talking.
Right.
But this is a culture of not talking. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you don't talk to the fucking cops, bro.
Yeah, especially, 15 years ago, like Stop Snitching was a real movement.
Yeah, this is this was not now. This isn't now.
Yeah.
Like all we do is snitch. My Snapchat, all I do, like I'm steady. All I do, you fucking see, you can see where I'm at all the fucking time. We've become a group of tattletales, but back then, like you don't cooperate.
And we didn't have phones on us like that.
Nope. No cameras. It was it's like
no World Star moment. World Star didn't exist yet.
And then here's the other thing. The interesting thing is, one wouldn't think of Jam Master Jay as being connected to drug deals, allegedly or not, but like, and you and I were talking about this outside. Like it's quite possible. It is really hard. Once you get out of a certain situation, to completely divorce yourself of that situation. A lot of times that same hustle that a dope dealer might have, you apply it in other ways, and then if you see some easy ways to make money that's illegal, you might end up doing it.
I don't have any sympathy for that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the logic behind it. I feel like that story is so popular now that people should do a better job of like not falling into the same traps. Like, how many times you got to hear like, you know, athlete gets brought down because his friends were into some shady stuff. Michael Vick, he gets brought down because he couldn't tell his homies not to have a dog fighting ring in his name. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many examples of, you know, people who end up taking L's because they don't know how to put their homies in check.
Well, there's two things. There's one, keeping your homies. Sometimes, but there's this peer pressure though, man. It's like, oh, you, especially coming from the hood, like, oh, you forgot about us. You got to look out for us. I mean, I got rappers coming in here. They'll have a gang of motherfuckers. I'm like, who are you? Why are you here? Don't you have a fucking day job? Like, go do something. What is your purpose besides like running to 7-Eleven and intimidating people? Like, I don't know what you're here for. You don't see that as much when we have actors come in, they don't have 10 of their homies that I've never seen before. They'll have people working for them. So you see that in rap. Also, like, look, man, like, I'm a bit more sympathetic, man. Like, when I see like a fucking a football player getting popped for selling dope, I'm like, damn, you dumb as fuck. Damn, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, damn, you stupid as fuck for that. Damn, I can relate to that. Damn, I really understand where your fucking head is at. Because it's like you just come up looking for angles, every fucking angle. It's survival. It's like, it's hard to stop that. It's hard to stop that, even though it's good for you to stop it. That's all I'm saying. It's hard to stop like looking for fucking angles, man.
I just wish people were more crafty. Like even no matter what kind of environment that you're in. Let's say you are out hustling. You have to be a smart hustler at some point. At some point, you need to shift your accounts.
Well, yeah, Michael Vick should have had all that shit in his homeboy's name. That was a real easy one. You know what I mean? Like,
I think most of these are pretty easy.
Yeah,
I think most of them are pretty easy.
Just put it in your man's and yo, how much did he lose? Like 40 million. Just give your man 10 million to take the fucking hop on that grenade. He comes out, he's still ahead 30 million.
Right,
and that's not even counting like the playing ball and all that shit.
And, you know, T.I. got arrested once. I guess like the third time T.I. was arrested. He had the guns in his car. Maybe it was the second time he was arrested. He had guns in his car. Like, he was the one getting the guns. Like, you know, that to me doesn't sound like that works if you're famous or not. Like, that sounds like if you are the kingpin, or if you're the guy at the head of the organization, or if you're even mid-level.
Why are you touching this shit?
Why are you touching it? Like, I don't get this at all. Like, I understand peer pressure, and I understand, oh, you can't change up. Oh, you went in Hollywood. I get all that kind of stuff. But at some point, whether you blow up or not, you do have to be smart at what you're doing. You have to be a smart hustler at whatever it is you're doing.
Well, there's two levels. It's like, one is the peer pressure. All right, bro, you got to fuck that peer pressure, because these people are not looking out for your best interest. They're looking out for their own best interest and using guilt and fucking, peer pressure to get you to do the things that, to be able to eat off of you. And like, if you get it, you don't owe nobody shit. Anything you want to give to somebody, that's a bonus, but just know that you don't owe a motherfucker shit unless they made your beat for you and wrote your fucking rhymes or drove you to the fucking place every fucking day. You don't owe no motherfucker shit. You did that shit. The other one's a little tougher. You know what I mean? Like, it is hard to, in this instance, if what they say is true, that Jam Master Jay was attached to some shit. Look, money's good, but it's all more money's always better. Money's good, more money's always better. And it's like, it's hard to be like, hey, bro, like, you're risking a fucking ton by doing it this way. Especially if you're used to doing that type of shit.
Hip hop has a lot of stories like that. You know, Biggs, the third member of Rockefeller, he was bagged for marijuana. Around the same time, you had Ja Rule, Murder Inc., Irv Gotti. They caught some heat around, I think it was probably 4 years after this, maybe. I think there's just the street life. The music industry is built off the mafia anyway, so there's a element of street life that's always been in music, and I think that's difficult to separate. I think you have to know the consequences, though, and that's the part. Like, that's the part that I don't have any.
I agree. I agree with. Look, man, I agree with you. Like, we're grown ups. We're grown ups. We know what the fuck we're doing. I'm not saying it's cool. All I'm saying is I get it. That's all I'm saying is like, fuck, dude. I understand that.
Yeah.
Mike in Sacramento. Mike.
Hey, what's up, man?
Go ahead, bro.
Hey, so yeah, I totally agree with you. I think there's that element where it's survival. You're always looking for that next come up. You have to stay alive, right? But at what point does it stop? When you find that angle and you're making the money and you've gotten away from that life, when does it stop?
That is the question we are asking. I don't know when it stops. Like, look, when you grow the fuck up.
I mean, look, if you owe somebody money, if you're entangled in it, you know, that's the only situation where I can see where this might be difficult to separate yourself from. Like if you were funded and then you blew up and now you owe people, you got to pay your investors. I get that. All money ain't good money.
Nope. And the crazy shit too is there's a, you know, I'm not going to say even like non-gangster rappers, like I know a lot of motherfuckers that are like conscious, like backpacker rappers that are tied to dope boys because it's from their hood, it's in their family, all that shit. Like, yo, dude, like just because they rapping about fucking, you know, respecting women and shit like that does not mean that they're not attached to dirty shit. So like it touches a little bit everywhere.
Like you said, the foundation of music. You got, you know, that, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Jersey Boys, right? Like these guys started with the mafia, and the mafia kept coming after them for the money.
Even motherfucker Sinatra, like this is, and a lot of these dudes are street guys. You know, like yo, these are street fucking dudes, and that's who the fuck you're around. And if some guy with a bit of money is like, hey, if I invest a little bit in this motherfucker, that's not a bad bet. It's not a bad bet. Let's go to Corey and Flint. Corey.
What up, Flint? Hello, can you hear me?
What up, though?
What up, though? Hey, one thing y'all got to remember, at the time, Jam Master Jay wasn't getting a lot of money like that, right? DNC kind of disbanded a little bit. Rev Run did his own thing, and DNC's voice had messed up, so the money wasn't really coming in. And Jam Master Jay was a real street cat. He got into some shootouts with some other New York hustlers back in the day. So he wasn't just out of the streets. He was still in the street.
Yeah, he was in that shit. 10 toes deep. And, like, look, man, think about it like this. He put on 50. You know, 50, you know, that was on the cover of every interview magazine. It was about the fucking bullet lodged in his teeth. You know what I mean? Like, that was that.
Yeah. He wasn't out of the life.
No, he was not. No, he wasn't. Let's go to phone lines blowing up on this one. We got Lauren in Pittsburgh. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say, like, I can always understand once you're famous, your friends that are, you know, still in the street doing that, hey, give me your contacts. But I never understood why the friends of these people aren't saying, hey, you know, you already have, like, you're famous, you have that hustle, we're doing, like, the street hustle, why are you coming back and trying to take a piece of that? Like, it never made sense to me.
I don't know. Look, man, there's some cases where it's like, I think didn't they say that with Pac, like they saw him doing good, it was like, hey man, stay away from this and we want you to fucking go this way. Or there's been other times where it's like you know, ball players like the G's in the hood will just be like, hey man, just focus on that, stay the fuck away from it. But I don't know, like I don't know if that's what you mean, but like, yo, dog, a lot of these cats that are around them, they're thinking about their own best interests.
Every situation is different too. Like, you know, sometimes people just need help out of a situation, and that kind of pulls you into a situation. Like sometimes you might, you know, like you might need to pay somebody off, and you got to do this one last thing, like every movie ever made, and then you get pulled into it. You know,
that's a really good point. Yeah,
you know? And then a lot of times too, you know, people actually like it. Like sometimes people just like hustling, you know, and that's an allure on its own. You know, I think that if you're the person, you have to be, if you're the one that everyone is pulling, you have to be the one pulling the trigger. You have to be the one that is thinking about this at a higher level, because you're the one that everybody needs. Yeah, you got the juice.
Tony in the Bronx. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, what's going on, man? Big fan. Been listening for a while. You know, basically what I'm trying to say is that, you know, these street guys, take it from me. I'm Italian. I got some street guys in the family. the hustle never ends. You know, they were infiltrated in the New York City unions, the construction jobs. They could go and be legitimate, all of them, but they choose not to. You know, a street guy is a street guy, and there's no change in that. You'll never get him to stop scamming or, you know, anything. That's just the way it is. So T-Pain buying the guns, he's buying the guns because that's what he does. He's a street guy. He'll never change.
It's really kind of I mean, it even made me think of, like, you know, I play backgammon with the Armenians, man. Like, dudes will show up with fucking boxes of Hugo Boss that came from nowhere to slang. Like, yo, dude, it's just like it almost becomes it's embroidered in the culture in a lot of ways, especially
exactly.
You know, especially like with cats that had to come up hustling. You just stay hustling. You just find a new fucking hustle. Z in Chicago.
Yo, what's up, Jude?
Go ahead, bro.
My thing was that, look, it, like how Tony was just saying right now, it's all about the hustle, man. Some people just see it as a way of life. You go to, like, the most expensive restaurant, you know, wherever you are, New York, Chicago, and I could be a millionaire, the other guy could be a billionaire. We're going to still eat off the same plate. We're still eating the same food. But it's just some people got the hustle in them, and they never want to stop. You know, people like Warren Buffett, people like Jay-Z, they still putting out albums. That's because they got the hustle in them.
That's what got them there.
They got things they want to do.
That's a really,
it got them there.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Z, because, like, I've you know, as I've gotten older and shit, I've made friends with, like, people that work in finance. Yo, I got homies that, like, got their money on an island in, like, the Caribbean somewhere, and he's not competing against me with the Chevy Volt. He's competing against this other dude that's got fucking money on 3 islands. You know what I mean? Like, in Kabayan Island with half of the money on. Like, it's like, it's kind of that drive that gets you can also be the one that kills you.
Right.
It's
like Avon Barksdale and Stringer Bell in The Wire.
Yes.
Avon didn't want to get out of the game. He didn't want to get out the game, and he lost. Then the flip side of that is like, yo, the hustle never stops, dog. You think some people just are allowed to rob you legally? You know what I mean? Like, to that point, like, my dumb ass, you take your money to a fucking money manager, I'm getting fucked, and they're hustling the fuck out of me. I don't know what the fuck's happening. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, some people's hustles are government backed, while other ones are government attacked. You could be a legal drug dealer.
Oh yeah,
it's called pharmaceutical sales.
It's called being a fucking doctor, dude. It's called being a fucking doctor. My first chapter in Hummingbird, I'm talking about that. Like, these doctors got people strung out on methadone.
Exactly.
They're not looking at that person as a patient. You're a fucking swimming pool. You're buying me a pool. I'm gonna swim in you in a year. It's a wrap.
The opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
They sold heroin pills on TV, on commercials during football games for like 20 years. Ask your doctor if you need heroin. Heroin
was made by Bayer because it was either morphine or codeine had a bad name, and they needed to. They re-engineered it, and heroin actually is the word hero. Like, feel like a hero. Heroin. That's a yo, dude. Shit is real. Tim in Pennsylvania.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Fucking nuts, right? Tim.
I just wanted to say that it's hard to get out. Like, even if you do go legit and then the money slows up, it's always just easy to go right back, you know, because you got your people and you hit them up. Like, in the case where you make millions of dollars, like, you should never put yourself in that situation. But kind of expecting people to just walk away from everybody they know, and that's what you're around. So, I mean, what are you just going to, your whole life won't change because you moved to California and, you know what I mean? It's just not easy to walk away because it's just easy, basically.
Tony in Detroit. Tony.
Yeah.
What up, though, man? Go ahead.
Hey, look, man, I'll be hustling, man. The only reason why we'll get up there to the point where we don't need to be out there no more, is just be dumb, is because we got to show appearances, man. You got to show appearances or somebody is going to take your spot. So no matter how much money we get, we still got to get out there anyway. We know it's dumb, but you just got to show appearances.
So how do you work around that? Like, I mean, I feel like
You can't work around it. You in the game now.
I feel like
Part of your life now.
But I feel like the ending to that narrative is the same. Like, is it
You
futile?
start sending a guy out there to take care of all your business for you while you sit back and relax, he's going to be the next one to take over. He's going to know all the connects. He's going to know where all the money go, where everything go. You think he's going to continue to be loyal to you? No, he ain't. He going to snuff you out sooner or later. You going to have to, that's why you got to show appearances and still touch your stuff, man. You don't choose to do it. You have to do it.
Let's go to Mike in L.A. Thanks, Tony. Mike.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
bro.
I hustled for quite a few years, and I ended up getting sober behind it. And even 2-3 years sober, I was still have my hands dirty, doing all sorts of things. And it took a real fucked up situation to get me out of it, to make me wake up and say, you know what, I'm living two lives and I can't do this anymore. And now I'm 11 years sober, and I'm real grateful. And I'm able to help people who are going through it.
Pussy.
Because of my past.
I'm playing with you. See, yeah, look.
That's dope, man. Congratulations.
It's like so far we've talked to like a gang of cats, like 1 in 5. 1 in 5.
Yeah.
Like 20% that's been able to be like, you know what, fuck it.
That appearances, my man's comment about having to make appearances, that's real.
D in Atlanta.
That was real.
Yeah. You know, like you said about the appearances, though, that's what's more addictive once you got the money is the power, being able to walk in the clubs, get all the women you can. That's the hardest part on getting out the game. Releasing that power, not feeling like you ain't going to be known anymore. You got to pull up. When you pull up, and I'm in Atlanta, you cut the line to the club, your table waiting. The power is the hardest thing, man.
I know. Can you imagine doing that and then you got to go wait in line at Subway? And fucking,
and then you got to wait in line for a sandwich.
You got some dickhead that's like, you got some fucking dickhead lame manager all up in your ass telling you what to do. Yeah, like, can you imagine that? Jesus Christ.
I can buy the Subway and fire everybody in there.
It's gotta be fucking, that's gotta take a toll on the motherfuckers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Corey in Atlanta. Here's another cat from Atlanta. This is kind of fascinating to me hearing these cats. Yo, Corey, go ahead, man.
Hey, Jude, man, I'm going to tell you. I got 16 years of hustling under my belt. Well, hold on. Let me give the disclaimer. I have a friend who has 16 years of hustling under his belt. Went to school, went to law school. He's a professional. And it's the love of the hustle, man. That's all it is. I mean, once you get addicted to it, and it's not even really the money, it's just the love to go pick up a bag and drop a bag off and get a little spending money in your pocket, man. It's just something about it that draws people in, and it's hard to give it up, man. Even if you're a professional or whatever it is you're doing, it's tough to walk away from it, man.
How'd you not get sucked? My bad. How did your friend not get sucked back in?
I didn't say he ain't still got his hands in it.
Word up.
Shit. I mean, dude, it's just too easy, man. It don't matter how much money my friend is making. I mean, when I'm doing whatever he's doing as a professional, it's just the love of the hustle. It keeps bringing you back, man, because you just can't let it go. And especially if you're still, smoking or whatever you're doing, you ain't paying for that shit because you ain't never paid for it in 16 years you've been doing it. So you ain't about to start now.
Man. It's just like, it's like every fucking movie ever. That the why don't you just leave? And it's like it's not that easy to just leave. JP in Chicago.
Hey, what's up, Jude?
Go ahead, bro.
Hey, coming from a hustling in high school, I used to sell firecrackers in grammar school. Go across the border to Indiana, get the illegal firecrackers, sell them in Chicago in grammar school. Go through high school, sold weed all through college. Now you're in the corporate world. It's kind of hard, you kind of jumping on both sides of the razor blade. But it's like having like a little bitch ass manager bitching at you, like, dude, I can get you whacked anytime I want to, but you got to still deal with that shit. Cause, it's hard to go back to not hustling when you can. Anytime you want to, what are you gonna do? Work at McDonald's? You're gonna work at a little corporate job of telemarketer? It's just hard to go back and forth, but you can make money easily. Where you can do 1/10 of the work and get 20 times the money. That's the big draw.
How come we haven't had one person call up and be like, yeah, I used to hustle over here, do it like this, do it like that. I went over to the corporate world and I figured out how to fucking juice this system over here. Like,
that's what I'm waiting on. Like, how great of a hustler are you, or is anyone, if you can't hustle your way to a better situation? If you can't hustle the risk away?
That's kind of a really interesting point.
I think those are the people we don't hear about. Like when Forbes list comes out, you never see Rothschilds on the Forbes list. You never see the Windsors. Like the Queen of England is never in the Forbes list. You know she's paid. How come she's not on the list? That's how much that's how good at hustling the Queen of England is.
You got to take the same principles and bring it to the corporate world.
If you're trying not to get bagged or murdered, because everyone that's called in kind of has the same ending.
But you know what that you need for that? You have to relearn all the fucking rules. That's the hardest thing. Like now you're going up against cats that have been trained in this whole, like, yo, JP's probably an expert in the fucking streets, but he doesn't know fucking law and how for me to get you to sign some contract that's gonna fuck you out of half your earnings for half that. Like that's the other hustling. And I guess that's what I was saying. It's like it's a whole new, and now they're going up against cats that are like went to school for this shit to learn how to fuck a motherfucker, dude.
Gotta have a wide team.
Everybody got to evolve at some point.
Yeah.
Whoever's still printing magazines had a lot of changes they had to make between then and now.
Look, man, hey, yo, I touch on that. I touch on that shit in the book in Hummingbird. Like, what it is very hard to take what got you out of a bad situation into a better situation. It is so frightening to let go of that shit because that's all you know. But after a while, it stops being gasoline for your car and it starts being an albatross and an anchor around your neck. And you have to get that shit off and graduate to the next step. And that's the hardest. Change is hard, bro. It's possible, but it's hard. And look, we could talk. Like, you see the phone lines blowing up. Like, we could talk another 2 hours on this topic, bro.
This was fascinating. These are great callers today.
Thanks to is Carlos worth taking? Should we end with Carlos? All right, we're going to end with Carlos. All right, go ahead. Carlos in North Carolina.
Hey, man, I talked to you like a couple of days ago, man. This is the same Carlos called in on another topic, but I'm the one that did the 17 years in prison.
Yeah.
And I've been home 2 years. So, hustling, man, I hustle. Like, I wasn't one of these niggas who just in the way. You got a lot of these dudes who out here in the way. I was eating. So I got 30 years for mine, and I learned from it. So right now, I transform, man. I took my hustle to something entirely different. I sell paintings like I sold coke. You know what I'm saying? Because I paint, But the hustling, you going even in the dirt, you're going to get killed from it or you're going to prison. Those are the two outs. Like, Jay-Z is an exception to the rule, but the rule is your ass going to prison or you going to get killed. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And your homie's going to tell on you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's the real about what the game do for you. I don't care if you a gangbanger, whatever your situation, them niggas going to tell on you. I had 15 people tell on me. So that's what hustling gets you in the end. You gotta learn to mature after that. It's got its strong points. Like I learned from it. It's character building. But in the end, was it worth all that time?
Was it?
I mean, no. Fuck no. Hell no. My out date was 2026, man. I got lucky. I won my 2255. It's a lot of lifers I left in it. It's a lot of dudes who don't have out date. The out date is deceased for selling drugs, for hustling, for getting money, for grinding. The same thing these youngins out here rapping about, and they make it like it's cool. It's nothing cool about it. Niggas did it to eat. You feel what I'm saying? Like I got in the game in the 80s when crack hit. So it was different. Now they doing it because it's fun. They doing it because it's cool. But nah, I mean you gotta have a goal. You gotta have a goal. How much is enough? How much money is enough? When you gonna start investing your money? Like I feel like a fool because I went through so much money, man. But it's a lot of money to be made. But you gotta have a goal. You gotta have an out. You can't just think you're gonna keep doing that shit forever.
That's a good point.
It's too many risks out there. Niggas kicking your door in. It's just too much, man.
It's true.
The wolves out there too. They watching you too. When you blinging on Instagram, niggas see that. Next thing you know, your door getting kicked in, and you say it's haters. Nah, you enticing them. I had to touch it.
That's why I don't rock Buffies.
That's why you don't like what?
That's why I don't rock Buffies.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing that's going to entice everybody not doing as good as you in the game. So they might not be able to excel at hustling like you. So their hustle is taken. Like, it's a whole lot of different, angles you can come from with this hustling thing, man. You got dudes who feel like hustling is begging. I mean, it's different out there now, man. You got to be careful.
There's Carlos. All right, man. Justin Hunte on fucking company man on everything.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming in with these. That was a really interesting talk. It was cool, and thanks to all y'all cats that actually have been a part of it, just to call up and speak candidly on that shit.
Yeah, that was dope. Also, tomorrow, Rude Jude's interview goes live on the channel. I had hiccup this weekend, so I wasn't able to get it live. It's going to be live tomorrow morning. I got a draft for you to see too, Jude, so I'll send you the link as soon as we get off air.
Awesome, bro. Thank you.
Peace.